Good morning. I'm going live this morning. I'm just uh, working on my finances, and so I thought I would hop on and be available to answer any questions you may have as you're going through your budgeting uh, process, or if you are dealing with money problems and you want to have an objective opinion about it. My name is Summer Witten, and I'm a Dave Ramsey preferred coach. Uh, and I have been through the training that Dave Ramsey offers for financial coaching. So I actually have a certificate uh, of completion and am considered um, a financial Dave Ramsey preferred financial coach. It's a mouthful. Um, I went through what they call a master training, which was, uh, I forget the exact number, but it was over 40 hours of training. And I, along with my husband, have been working on our finances. We've been married over 20 years, and we have managed to get to the point where we have no debt, including our mortgage, which is a great feeling. And prior to that, we've been mortgage free for almost a year. And prior to that, we lived debt free as well. And we've made mistakes along the way, but we have always been aware of our finances and the importance of paying attention to them. I'm the what's called the nerd in the family when it comes to our finances, and my husband is, and I'm more of the saver, and my husband is more of what's called the free spirit and the spender. And so in most marriages, one person is more of the saver, and another person is more of a free spirit and a spender. And it's when the two combine that, and you learn how to communicate about things, that you can have a more successful, relationship, because money is something that we use every single day, as well as greater success with your finances. So I'm hoping that some people will join today, and we can talk about whatever questions you have or whatever struggles you have, and give some advice. One of the areas that a lot of people are experiencing stress with is student loans. A lot of people have student loans that they think they will receive forgiveness for, and it's a very small number of student loans that are actually forgiven. So that's an area that people can sometimes be deceived and think, well, I can just put this off, and if I do everything correctly, which is challenging, they make it challenging, then this student loan will be forgiven. It does happen. Some are forgiven, but there's a larger percentage of student loans that are not forgiven. They want to say they have a student loan forgiveness program because that appeals to a lot of people, but the reality of it actually coming to fruition for a lot of people is, it's nowhere near 100%, nowhere near 90%, nowhere near 80%. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's quite low. So if you have a student loan, what Dave Ramsey would recommend and what I would echo is pay it off as soon as possible. Even better, if you haven't been to college yet and you happen to have stumbled upon my video, don't take out student loans. There are other ways to go to college and have a successful career and not be loaded down with a ton of debt. You can work while you go to school. That's what I did. You can apply for scholarships. There's thousands of scholarships out there. And yeah, you're going to spend time going through and trying to get these scholarships. But if you think about it this way, let's say you spend an hour and you submit several applications and you end up with a $500 scholarship. What does that mean? That means you just got paid $500 for 1 hour of work. That's impressive. So if you flip your mindset and think of it that way, okay, I can spend an hour a day applying for various scholarships. And if I spend an hour and I get a $500 scholarship, yeah, $500 doesn't seem like much when college is as expensive as it is. But if you will do that faithfully for, a summer, or, your junior year of high school, or, maybe you start in the summer after your junior year and you continue that through halfway through your senior year, it's going to pay off. You're going to get scholarship help. You can also work on campus. A lot of students do that. And the beauty of working on campus is they understand you're a student first. So when things come up like tests or big projects, they are going to give you the flexibility that you need to get off work to take care of those things, and potentially even give you the opportunity to make those hours up later once you've gotten past that deadline. So definitely would encourage you to find ways to either pay off your student debt, if you already have it, as quickly as possible by taking on a side job or figuring out how to make more money at your current job. Or if you haven't been to college, do everything you possibly can to get out of college without debt. Another area that I'm seeing people have a real struggle in is car payments. Lots of people think that they need to have a new car. And of course, what comes along with that are new car payments, because most people aren't saving up to buy a car. And, if your new car payment is, $500 or greater, I'm sure that's a real strain on your budget. You could do a lot more with that. If you invested $500 a month instead of paying a car payment, if you invested $500 a month and you did that for 30 years, you would have accumulated over $3.5 million. $3.5 million. That's at a very conservative 10% growth rate. So when you think about, oh, well, my car payment's only this much, if you're paying a car payment, but you're not putting money aside for your future savings, so that when you are older and not able to work, you don't have to worry about whether you can afford the things you need. Think about how $500 a month, every month for the next 10 years, the next 30 years, will turn into $3.5 million. So if you think about that, and you think about not just what you want today, not thinking short term, oh, I love driving this fancy. I like driving new cars too. But when I buy a new car, if I buy a new car, which is pretty rare, I pay cash for it. I pick a lesser expensive car and I pay cash for it. And we have used cars in our family, most of them. I'm the only one that actually has a brand new car because I chose to buy a less expensive car, brand new. But I love it. It's a Chevrolet Equinox, and it's the top of the line. It's a premium, I believe is what they call it. It has all the bells and whistles. It has heated seats, air-conditioned seats, leather interior, adaptive cruise control. It has memory seating. It has a satellite camera that shows me when I'm backing up all the way around my car. It's an amazing car. And I paid about $30,000 for it, brand new. And you can do that. Or you can buy a used car. We just bought a used Prius, and this was post-COVID. Which we know post-COVID, the used car prices have gone up quite a bit. We bought this car last November, and we paid $15,000 for a Prius that only had 83,000 miles. It was in great condition. And we have two other used cars that we bought recently. A Toyota truck. Now that one was a little bit more. It cost about the same as my brand new Equinox, but it was what my husband wanted, so that's what we got. And it's been very reliable. We've had to do one repair that cost us about $200, and that's it. We bought a Dodge pickup truck for our son, who just became a new driver. And that one was a little bit not as good of a deal, but it still total cost us, that truck has still, with the total amount of money we put into it, still cost us $16,000. We did have to do a little bit of work. We actually bought it for $9,000 and then have had to do a little bit of work on it since we got it. But nothing that left him stranded on the side of the road. Just some things that, because it's an older truck, it's a 2003, needed to be done. We didn't want to buy him a brand new truck because we knew as a new driver, he'd have a few fender benders possibly. And we just didn't want the stress for him or us, of a new car and having a payment and all of that. So what's another thing? Housing. A lot of people don't realize that their housing cost should be no more than 1/4 of their take-home pay per month. So let's say your take-home pay was $4,000. So if your take-home pay is $4,000, then your total rent should not be more than $1,000 a month. Now, if you live in a place where that's not realistic, which I realize is the case these days, then you either are going to A, have to have a roommate, B, take on a second job, or C, move to a different location where the rent isn't so high, whether that's a different apartment complex, different part of town, or a different city altogether, which I know a lot of people are reluctant to do. But, if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck and you want to have financial freedom, then you're going to have to make some sacrifices that you may not see your friends making in order to 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now, be in a much better place where you have no debt and you have extra money left over at the end of the month instead of having extra month left over and not enough money. So those are the hard choices that we have to make sometimes about where we're going to live, what car we're going to drive. Sure, I'd love to have a Tesla. I think they're awesome. Mainly because of the technology. I have an engineering degree, and even though I don't currently use it, it's still part of my makeup. And so I kind of like the idea of having one of those because of the self-driving features and the automation and the technology that isn't gone into them. I also like the idea of not paying for gas with the high gas prices. But I'm not going to sacrifice my financial well-being so that I can drive a Tesla. The car I have actually has quite a few of the similar features that make it feel like a luxury car, even though it wasn't a luxury car price. So what else? Another area is food. People tend to overspend. We did this. This was one of our big challenges in my family, was overspending on eating out. So it's real important that you use some kind of budgeting tool. Dave Ramsey has a tool called Every Dollar. If you're single, you can probably manage the free version where you enter all your transactions in manually. And then you can reconcile them with your bank account at the end of the month or weekly, however you decide to do it. If you're not single, or if you are single but you have a lot of transactions for whatever reason, then you want to consider and highly recommend getting the paid version, which is, last I knew, was $80 a month. And what you do is you put in there and budget ahead of time, this is how much money I'm going to spend on eating out, and then that's how much you spend. And you go into the app and it will show you how much you've spent on eating out. And it will help you not overspend. So if you say, let's say you gave yourself a budget of $200 this month for eating out, and you are halfway through the month and you look up and you've used $150 of your $200 and you still have 2 weeks to go, well, you have some decisions to make. You can either choose to spend less money in some other category, spending category, like maybe grocery, or maybe your fuel costs were less for the month for some reason, and you could move money from fuel over to increase your eat out budget. What you don't want to do is move money over from a sinking fund or a savings fund. You don't want to take money from the savings fund to feed and increase your eat out. If you don't have another spending category like grocery or fuel or some kind of spending category, not saving category, then you just have to make do with the $50 you have left. Another area is groceries. If you're going to the grocery store multiple times a week, some people go every day. We sometimes do this and we find we have to reel ourselves back in. You're gonna do much better going to the store once a week, making a list and going once a week, meal planning. So sitting down maybe Saturday morning and meal planning for the week, going that day, getting all your groceries for the week. And if you eat a lot of fresh fruits or vegetables, maybe you plan, and the key word there is plan, one more trip midweek to get more fresh produce if that's, a situation that you're in. But ideally, you would go once a week and get everything you need for the week and plan ahead. You'll spend a lot less money at the grocery store if you adapt this habit. And maybe you can make it a fun exercise if you have a family and sit down with your family, or if you're single, you could call up a good friend or your mom or dad and say, hey, help me meal plan. Help me come up with some meals. And I would recommend coming up with, mostly it's going to be dinner that you're meal planning. That's the biggest meal that most people make. And a lot of people just kind of eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch. Or they may just have it be more simple. But whatever, meal plan, breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you need to, or meal plan for dinners. But if you're meal planning for dinners in particular, I would recommend not coming up with just 7 meals, but I would brainstorm between 10 and 14. That way you can rotate them through and you don't feel like you're eating the same thing every week. And if you spend time now doing that, then you'll be glad later. It'll make it a lot easier later. So, sorry, I'm distracted. There's a little bird, little teeny tiny bird outside picking leaves off my lantana bushes. I guess for a nest. So, all right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up for now. I hope that if you've stumbled upon this recording and listened to it, that if you've gone all the way through, I thank you for that. You're here for a reason. There was something here that God wanted you to hear. If you are coming upon it later as a recording, I pray and hope that there was something here you found helpful. And feel free to email me. I have my email address on my channel description. You can go to my channel. While you're there, subscribe. Also, please hit the like button for this video and share it with anyone you know that you think might benefit. I love helping people with their financial struggles because I know how difficult it was for us. And yes, we are in a better place, but it took a lot of ups and downs to get here. And we still are working on things. Vacations are something that we continue to work on. So anyways, thank you for watching the video. And again, send me an email with any questions that you have. Thank you and God bless. Sorry, I can't, the camera's in the way. I couldn't see the button. Maybe you got a good laugh out of that.